While in Brussels it is seen that Ukraine can defeat Russia with the help of the West, the Hungarian government believes in a negotiable solution. Can this be solved? I also ask Prime Minister Viktor Orban about this.
Good morning. Good morning. Now that the Americans seem to be willing to send more and stronger weapons to Ukraine than ever before, why does he think that Brussels' plans to defeat Russia are baseless? This is not a difference of opinion in the EU. This is perhaps important. It is not a question of who thinks what, but who wants to do what. So here the opinions cover the actions. And when others say that this is our war, our first line of defense is Ukraine. That's why we're at war. That's why we have to support Ukraine. Then it means that we really have to support Ukraine. So we don't have to declare to the big world newspapers, but we have to send weapons, we have to send money. Maybe later we have to send people, and we have to support the continuation of the wars, which result in hundreds dying every day. So this is not a matter of opinion. So now we are beyond who thinks what. It is a matter of what we do. Now my point of view is that the European war strategy, which has just been introduced in Copenhagen, is based on a mistake. The European war strategy says that the Russians will soon run out of economic resources. In other words, money, like us. And like the Russians, they won't have enough money to manufacture weapons in such a rush as they are doing now, because they are now providing very high performance. But this will be destroyed, and we will be able to continue to give the Ukrainians a lot of money, and as a result, weapons. The Russians will explode economically. Maybe there will be uprisings in Russia, and this is why the Russians have to give up their war goals due to the economic collapse and retreat. And after they retreat, the Ukrainians will be able to take these territories, and the country will be able to join them again. This is the European war plan. Hundreds or thousands of people die every day. We burn hundreds of millions of euros every day, billions in the end. And there is a constant risk that we, even though we are Europeans, will get deeper and deeper into this war. And in the end, there will be those who want to send soldiers, because if we are at war, why don't we fight? So the whole European Union's strategy has serious consequences for the whole of Europe. And this strategy does not clarify two questions, even though I have tried to explain to them how long it will take and how much it will cost. So if you have a war strategy, you need to know how many years you are able to achieve this performance. When will the Russians collapse? In the next month, half a year, 3 or 4 years. How long will the war last? How many will die? 10,000, 100,000, 500,000? And how much money will we get? So far, we have spent about 170, 180 billion euros. While we are in a serious economic crisis as Europeans, we would need every penny. We have spent 175, 180 billion euros so far, and every year we would have to spend 40, 50, 60 billion euros again and again, so we don't have any money. So this strategy has no rational basis, nor does it have a financial basis. We are unable to finance this war while we want to defeat the enemy, so that we can continue to survive with money and economic power like him. This is all a delibab, an illusion. It will collapse, and it will have serious consequences. In addition, it is also unprecedented in the history of wars.
When you discuss these issues and your doubts, behind closed doors or in corridors, what is the reception like?
I am slowly becoming a majority. So today, we are standing alone on the stage. The Slovaks are sometimes standing next to us. Some of them are asking similar questions. But based on the non-obvious conversations, I can say that more and more countries feel like Hungary, that we are going to enter a war, and sooner or later, our dead young people will come home with us. This danger is increasing. They do not want to accept it. In addition, in most European countries, there is a huge economic problem. So we do not have to start from Hungary, where we have reduced taxes, and we have launched the first housing purchase program. And the mothers do not pay their wages. So in Hungary, there is an offensive economic policy that builds up the bulk of economic programs. But in the West, this is not the case. There is a contraction, increasing taxes, increasing energy prices, economic performance reduction. So they are in a worse situation. Although they are richer than us, they are in a worse situation, and they have even less money to send it to Ukraine. This leads to the idea that we take the money that the Russians have consumed, the money that the Russians own, and we use it against the Russians. So when people are in trouble, they usually come up with such dubious ideas, and I see that we are in serious trouble from the increasingly dubious European ideas.
Yesterday, you said that Copenhagen had 3 suggestions on the table. One of them is to acknowledge the conflict between the EU and its own war. The second is financial support. This is what we talked about. But the third is joining. Previously, there was a plan to get your veto in relation to the opening of the chapters, but you rejected it.
Well, I think the intention is serious, but we have to go back to the beginning dances, to the KH, to understand what this is all about, and to understand where we missed the dance step. So the European Union is the joint organization of 27 member states. It is possible to create a new country here if we all agree on 27. If any country decides that it does not want to create a new country, because it does not want to be part of the European Union in any way, then it has the right to do so. So it does not look like they want to accept something on 26 and have to accept it on 27. But everyone has the right to decide for their own people whether they want to be in a common union with another people. So Hungarians do not have to worry about what the other 26 will say. We have to be satisfied with our own opinion. We have to know what the Hungarians want. And the Hungarians, after we ask them, and we can all say our opinion, the Hungarians do not want to be in a European Union with the Ukrainians. I deeply agree with this, because if you are in a unilateral system with someone, then you share the fate. Ukraine is a very difficult country. Why should we share in this difficult fate? We have our own fate, which is much easier than that of the Ukrainians. Okay? Let's help them. It's okay for our strength, but why should we take someone else's bad fate as our own? This is a childish thought. In such romantic movies, people used to think like this when they were 13, 14, 15 years old, that it would be nice to hide in the skin and clothes of people with a difficult fate and wear the same difficult fate. But why would it be good when we can do it, that we don't do it? We feel sorry for them. We feel together with them. They fight heroically. Let's support them. But we don't want a common fate with them. Their fate is that they live next to Russia and are constantly at war with the Russians. We cannot change this. And it doesn't help if we take everything they suffer from. And I want to challenge Hungary to be in a unilateral system with the Ukrainians. If we take them, then we will also be at war with the Russians. Let me say it again. Sooner or later, you have to send soldiers if you are in a unilateral system with someone and they support it. And we don't want the young people, we don't want to die for Ukraine. Let's pour clean water into the glass. And we want to give as much money as we can. But it's not about them being members of the Union, and they will get money from the Hungarians because they are in trouble. We decide what we want to give and how much. But they cannot support the right to take money out of the pockets of Hungarian people because they need it. If they are members, then this is how it is. Then we have to share money. So I suggest that we have a strategic agreement. Let's help them. Let there be an agreement between the Union and the Ukrainians. There are such agreements with the British. There are such agreements with the Turks. And this is not unprecedented. But let's not take them. We have a right to this. And whatever they find out, they cannot change it, because the Hungarians have a right.
In Copenhagen, he also announced that he is starting a signature collection against the Brussels war plans. At the same time, there was already a vote this year. Obviously, it was about the membership of the Ukrainian Union. What else would this signature collection be about? And what is the purpose of this?
First of all, this is a difficult issue. Let's not be sluggish. We are not foxes. So let's talk straight. So Hungary is involved in this issue. Hungary is involved in this issue. In the case of the Ukrainian European Union, I didn't even think about it. But this is the situation, because TISA organized a party vote on this issue to support the TISA members of the Ukrainian European Union. And there are 58, if I remember correctly, %. Yes. Now, of course, we can complain about how much TISA's national support is and how much the 58% is, but no matter how we calculate, this is several 100,000 people. And then, I think we have to count the DKs as well. We don't know what their support is, because we can't believe any estimates. But if they have 4 or 5% support, that means a few 100,000 people. So everyone in Hungary needs to know, both you and me, that maybe there are a lot of us who agree with the very simple reasoning that the Ukrainian party vote means that Ukraine brings in the war and takes out the money of the Hungarians. But a lot of Hungarians think it's worth doing. There are several 100,000. So I think we need to know that this issue is a continuous political war issue in Hungary. If there is a national government, then we don't go to war. We don't send our money there. If TISA or the DK form a government, which is a Brussels party government, then we go to war and send money there. So this is an internal dispute that needs to be resolved. This is a mistake for every election. Maybe it will be one of the most important or the most important mistake. Now this is membership. The other is war. So there is a war plan that means that there is a solution to the war on the front line. Let's give energy, money, weapons to the Ukrainians to win this. Or let's say there is a diplomatic solution, there is no solution to the conflict on the front line. This can be seen. This has been going on for 3 or 4 years. Let there be negotiations, and let's try to reach an agreement. Now, as long as we are under constant pressure, which means to me personally, in these negotiations, in the war, it is important that the Hungarians continue to strengthen their opinion that they do not want a European Union war strategy, or if there is one, we do not want to take part in it. Without such international cooperation, so against war, without international cooperation, it is very difficult to keep Hungary out of the war. I know the story, not everyone reads it in the morning when they take their children to school or go to work. And I don't want to treat people with the difficulties of my own work, but let's not forget that we wanted to survive 2 world wars, and neither the first nor the second succeeded, because our leaders wanted it, but it didn't work out. I'm looking for the way so that we don't go like this, so that we can survive. But for me, to successfully open my opportunity to represent this position, I need a very strong national unity to be in Hungary, to represent a different government position, and to represent a different national position in an international space. This is constantly strengthening. I don't need it spiritually. I have a wife. I have children at home. I don't need it spiritually. I need a political reinforcement so that I can stand out clearly against anyone and make it clear that we Hungarians do not support any war strategy, and we will not take part in it. We will stay out of this war.